In this video, I'm going to show you how to prepare the dye and how to dye fabric to create a vintage look or a weathered look. You will need the following supplies on hand: 1 measuring teaspoon, 1/4 measuring cup, 1 small soft brush, 1 large soft brush, white cotton. I'm using RIT dye. It's readily available and it comes in the liquid form or powdered form. 2 small cups or jars, paper towels, tin foil, and an old towel. Optional items you might want to have on hand would be a coffee filter, rubber gloves, or latex gloves. We will start with the dye preparation. In a small pan, bring water to a rolling boil. Measure 2 teaspoons of dye, either the liquid dye or the powder dye, and place in a small cup. Measure 1/4 cup of boiling water and place in the small cup and stir until dye is completely dissolved. If you are having problems with the dye dissolving, pour the dye solution in a coffee filter, and that will remove the granular pieces that are not dissolved. Before starting, layer an old towel, tin foil, a paper towel, and then your fabric on top. Have your cup of dye and a cup of water within reach. Wet the fabric first, and I like the fabric completely saturated, so I'm going to brush water onto the fabric. The fabric is fully saturated. Next, I'm going to take my small brush and paint the sides of the fabric. I'm using tan liquid dye for this demonstration. And you can see it kind of moves its way towards the center. Now I'm going to take my large brush, very saturated with water, and brush over that. It will blend out the color a little bit. I'm going to repeat for all 4 sides of the fabric. Repeat this process until you have the desired effect. Remember that the fabric color will be lighter when it is dry, so dye your fabric about 1 shade darker than the desired color. Once the edges are done, you can leave the center white or brush diluted dye on the center of the fabric. Here's an optional technique that you can use on your fabric. Load your small brush with dye and flick little dots randomly onto the fabric. If they are a bit too dark for you, you can minimize the look by taking your large brush filled with water and just brush over them, and that will tone the dots down. Once the fabrics are dry, press with a hot iron. This is RIT dye color tan, and this is pearl gray, also by RIT. And these are the 2 colors that I'm using for the Steampunk 4x4 Time Flies projects. This is the RIT tan color with the dots sprinkled on the fabric. When I place the fabrics on the board, I'm placing the dark edges on the corners, on the outside corners, and on the borders I'm placing them on the inside groove. This concludes the dyeing fabric for the Steampunk projects. Thank you for watching.